Hey guys, how are we doing? Welcome to another Buzzing Out of Town video here on Buzzing Pattaya. And I'm up here in the village. I'm up here near Karat, and I thought what a great opportunity to maybe give you an insight as to what to expect, particularly if you've never been to a village location with anywhere in Thailand, and also those of you that have lived in villages, or maybe you're living in a village or you've been to the village, you can relate to what I'm going to go through and explain. So first and foremostly, it's incredibly different, so different to the lifestyle you're maybe used to in the city centre. If you've never ventured out further than sort of like Jomtien or Bangkok or Pattaya, you really are in for a shock. But don't worry, it's a good shock. It's something that I think everybody should embrace, should have a go at, and should at least try once in their visits. I know guys that have been coming over for years and years and years, have never set foot outside of Pattaya city, which I think, to me, personally, I think that's a shame, because so much more happens away from the city centre and the bright lights. Now, maybe that's not your thing, and if it's not your thing and you want to stay where you are, well then that's cool, no problem. This video will confirm the reasons why you shouldn't leave the city and just stay doing what you're doing. But if you're like me and you like to explore and see what's going on, well then this is what's waiting for you. So the first thing is, let's just imagine, okay, let's paint the scenario. You've met a Thai girl, she's the love of your life, and says, hey, how about let's go back and meet my family? And you're thinking, no, but it happens, and it happens far more often than people realize. So the first point to note is where in this country of Thailand is her village. And you've got to figure out a couple of things first. Number one is, how are you going to get there? Maybe you've got a car, maybe you're going to hire a car, or maybe you're going to go on the bus, which is, generally speaking, the most common form of transport to get to the villages. Bus journeys here are incredibly slow. They're very tiring, very testing. You can quite easily find yourself in a bus for 8 to 10 hours, no dramas whatsoever. They'll stop because someone needs a wee, someone wants to go and get a coffee. It can be a real painstaking journey. So be prepared. If you are going to go by bus, take stuff with you. Maybe you've charged your phone, so you've got some music to listen to. Maybe you've got a book or whatever, watching YouTube. Maybe you're watching this video, but you are going to be in the bus for a long period of time. Alternatively, if it's a long way up, you might be lucky enough to be able to fly. Maybe you're going to go up to Chiang Mai, or you're going to go to Khon Kaen. So you might be lucky enough that you can fly, in which case that speeds up the experience. But even when you get to these airports, you're still going to need to commute from A to B, so you're going to need a taxi. And some of the taxis can be quite expensive. Even though you're up in the middle of nowhere, they can be quite expensive. So be prepared for your transport. Now, where are you going to stay? Not as in the location, but as in what kind of house. The one thing that you're going to experience when you come up here to the lifestyle of the village life is there are all kinds of configurations of houses. You're going to get the wooden houses, you'll get the concrete block houses, you'll get two-tier houses, two levels, you'll get single-story houses. It's a vast array of different styles of buildings that you may or may not be staying in. And likewise, you may well find, and you're going to think, are you having a giraffe with me here? But you may well find you're going to sleep on the floor on a mattress. Thais, particularly in the villages, beds, what's a bed? A bed is the floor. It's normally a mattress or a duvet cover, and you'll lay on the floor. So be prepared. It might pay you just to ask, sweetheart, what kind of floor am I going to be sleeping on? What's the bed situation like? So with the houses, one of the other things to bear in mind is the toiletry. You might be used to a nice modern shower, a nice flushing toilet. Perhaps you're going to walk into a hole in the floor and a squat situation, and it might be a big blue 205 litre bucket with a scoop, and that's your shower. These are all part of the fun of living up in the villages, of experiencing a completely different way of life to what you're going to be used to. So you've got yourself up to the village, you've found where you're going to be sleeping, you've found the house, you've come to terms with everything. The next thing that you're going to have to come to terms with is the food. So kiss goodbye to your fast foods, your pizzas, your Western food. That doesn't exist in these villages. It just doesn't happen. You might be lucky. There might be a local market nearby where they'll offer you the Thai pizza. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. You won't want to be touching that. It's certainly not any of your New York pizza styles. But the food here, I love Thai food, but be prepared, guys. It's very spicy. You know, you'll be very lucky to get food that's not spicy. Thais thrive on spicy food. It's going to be very varied. You might even get like the raw beef or the raw pork. You might get some seafood. You might get some live shrimps. Predominantly, the majority of their diet is based on pork and beef. But again, you know, you need to be prepared, because if you're someone that's got a bit of a dicky stomach and you can't really take on board like all the different spices and the different styles of food, and you're in a house with a squat toilet, you can imagine the situation that you're going to be in. You're going to be thinking, oh my God, my stomach's doing 10 to a dozen. I've got to go and crouch over a hole, and somehow I've got to try and wipe my backside. So, you know, you can start to picture the scenarios that you're in. But again, you know, Thai food is great. It really is lovely. Be very careful. They are very strong on putting in heaps of sugar and stuff like that. So please be aware, if that's your dietary needs, that you can't tolerate sugar. But what I am saying to you is, you know, it's part of the fun. It's part of the experience. You know, some people, I would say, if you come here for 2 weeks, don't do the village. Don't do the village, only because it's going to take you a day to get up there, a day to get back. You might not like it, and therefore it's taken away some of your holiday time. But if you're here for 3 or 4 weeks, or maybe you're here for 6 weeks, and you do find someone that you've clicked with, and you want to go and experience a different part of Thailand than the city, well then go for it. You know, really, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is you can come up, sit yourself down, have a look around, think, oh man, this ain't for me, and just head back. You know, just come back. It's not the end of the world. But if you're only here for two weeks, then probably I would say no, don't go for that. Now, when you come up, you know, you've got up here, you've sorted out the sleeping arrangement, you're understanding what food. Now you've got the biggest part of the village life, and that is family. Thais are extremely family orientated. They will think nothing of spending all day just sitting around chatting. Mum and dad will be their world. You know, they will surround themselves with mum and dad all the time. Because you're a Westerner, because you're that Falang, you may well find that there's a lot of people coming to say hello, or not say hello, but kind of like, ooh, look. You know, for some people, you know, it sounds daft, but for some people, they won't have experienced meeting a Westerner. They won't know what to expect. And the children will go, and they'll laugh and they'll giggle and they'll look at you and they'll run away laughing. You know, don't be offended, don't take it to heart. I must admit, when I first came up here, it was quite difficult when I first went to the villages, because you know, you sort of sit there and think, have I got like a purple hat on my head or something? Because the kids would come and go, wow, and they'd run off. And you sit there, and all the elders, and they're talking and looking and talking and looking. And you know, it can be quite, not intimidating, but it can be quite sort of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but you know, when you think you're the center of attention for all the wrong reasons. So, you know, the family are very strong part of the visit. You are going to be paraded around. You are going to be introduced to loads of people. So be prepared for family environment, because that's going to be a massive part of your journey when you do come up here. Early mornings. Now, right now, you can probably hear, I don't know if you can hear, the cockerels are crowing, the birds are chirping, everyone's waking up. They're all going off to do their work in the fields and harvest, or they're going to go do the pottery, whatever. Early mornings are normal. I know it's a bit of a kind of a contradiction, because when you go to the city, when you're in Pattaya, you know, we need a crowbar to get the girl out of bed. Come on, wake up, wake up. But remember, as I've said many times, Pattaya is not Thailand. When you come up here, this is the real world. And they will think nothing of being awake at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, no dramas whatsoever. They'll go off and do that, because remember, again, it's the temperature. You know, the sun out here is hot, as you're probably aware. So of course, for them to do their work early morning is much more suitable than going out in the middle of the afternoon when it's at its hottest time. So be prepared for early mornings. And you know, if you are a light sleeper, and I'm pretty much one of those, if you are a light sleeper, you're going to have issues, because they will think nothing of putting music on or turning all the lights on. It really is a fun time. And I don't want to paint this picture as being like doom and gloom. I just want to be open, and I want to tell you what to expect and how you're going to be approached and all these kind of things. But you know, I stand by what I say. Come up and experience it. It really is fantastic. And at least you can say, well, I gave it a go. Eating out, forget it. All right, and unless you're lucky enough where you're going to be somewhere near a city centre. So like for me, I'm about 20 kilometres away from Korat. Now, if I go into Korat, yes, there are a couple of Western bars and restaurants. There are a lot of food restaurants, etc. We've got the big shopping malls. But if I'm here in the village, there are very few, if any, restaurants that you can go to that do not serve you Thai food. Everything is geared upon Thai food, because remember, you're coming back to their village now. So that goes back to the point about making about what you're going to eat. So if you're thinking I'm going to go out every night, it ain't going to happen. If it does happen, you're going to go maybe and have mukata, which is the Thai barbecue. That's one of my favorite styles of food. But if it does happen, be prepared for the family to turn up, because it's like, hey, come on, let's all go and have dinner, because guess what? Her boyfriend's going to pay. And that's just the way it is. But the nice thing is, it's cheap as chips up here. It really is. You know, I took Mo and her family out 2 or 3 days ago. We had a big mukata, and I think my bin was like about 900 baht, and that included drinks as well, chang and stuff. So, you know, it's nothing. So don't panic. You're not going to be like fleeced rotten. But when you go out, be prepared that it's going to be a Thai style. So there's not that many restaurants where it's going to be a Thai style. So it's going to be open food dishes where they're all going to tuck into your dinner. I covered this the other day. You know, you can say, right, I'll have a kapau musap, which is like the spicy mince dish with rice. And you're just about to tuck in, and suddenly a spoon will come flying in from the side, and you're like, oh, help yourself. But it's just the way it is. And likewise, if you see their dinner, you think, oh, I like a bit of that, you can have a go, you know, don't worry, sharing's caring. Rain. Right now, ironically, we're having a bit of rain, and I don't quite understand it, because we shouldn't be. We should be at the end of it, but we are passing through, well, monsoon is passing through. But if you're up here in the village and it's raining, be prepared to be stranded. It's very unlikely you're going to be able to get around. So you have to think about, you know, what am I going to do if I'm stuck in the house? I can't speak the language. I don't watch their TV, and I don't know what else to do. So again, you know, maybe pack a couple of books. Just give yourself some downtime where you can allow yourself the opportunity just to be you, rather than being surrounded by the Thai people and not really know what's going on. So maybe pack something like that just in case. Festivals. Now, depending on when you go up to the village will depend on what goes on. Right now, we've just had a fantastic festival. It's been incredibly good. It's a boat race festival, and what they do is they get together every year and they host these races, the long tail boat races, and they're brilliant. They really are great fun to be a part of, to go and watch. It's a great spectacle. The whole family, again, remember this family orientation, it's the whole family go. They all sit down together, they'll eat food together, they'll have a great time, the music will be playing, and the music's loud. It's loud enough to rock your beer can if you sat there trying to listen to each other. The music can be really, really loud. There's lots of dancing, there's fun activities for the kids, and of course, you know, there's a huge amount of food available. But these festivals are really, really good fun. And so again, you know, if you are going to come up and see, you know, the family who are going to do the village trip, it pays to go onto Google, search the area that you're going to go to, see if there are any festivals that are available, because go and check them out. And you are going to be made to feel so welcome. You know, when I went to the festival that we've just experienced, you know, I walk around and random Thai guys will come up and shake my hand and say hello. You know, they really are lovely people, and they're very welcoming. You know, we've had this discussion before. I'm not going to diversify off the channel's direction here with this video. But, you know, we've had the discussion about how friendly Thai people are, and they really genuinely are very welcoming, very friendly. So be prepared for people to come up and say hello, and don't be fazed if they start giggling. It's not because they're laughing at you, it's just they just don't know how to speak to you. Getting around. So if you are in the village situation, can you ride a motorbike? Because 99% of the people up here have motorbikes. Can you drive a car? If you can, they'll think nothing of just giving you the keys. You can just jump in and ride around. It's great, but just make sure you've got insurance, because if anything does go wrong, you are going to be in deep water. But predominantly, and the majority of times, you are going to be using a motorbike. Now, either she's going to be riding the motorbike and you're going to be the passenger, or vice versa, but be prepared to get around. I'm quite lucky. Obviously, I've got motorbike and, you know, the car, etc. But I like to walk, and where I am, I can walk around where I want to go. So I can go to Mo's mum and dad, no dramas whatsoever. It's a 10-minute walk. It's quite nice. So think about getting around. Now, the problem we have is if I want to go into Korat, I have to get a taxi, which is virtually impossible, which then means I have to use the old rickety bus. The bus takes about an hour to go 18 kilometers. If you can get a taxi, they're expensive. So like 18 kilometers from here to the city centre, I'll pay between 300 to 400 baht per way. Which, you know, if you're back in the city, you know, as you know, with the old Bolt taxis, pennies. But out here, it can add up. So again, you know, if you are thinking of coming up and you want to go off and experience the nightlife, and you're going to use taxis, it could potentially cost you quite a bit of money. So just be prepared for that. Nighttime. We're talking about going out, but you know, you might not want to go out. You might want to just sit around and just you know, be part of the village life. So what Thais will tend to do, the Thai village life here, is they'll meet early, they'll drink, they'll eat, they'll chat, they'll have fun. But normally they'll be, especially if they're working early mornings, excuse me, if they're working early mornings, then what they'll do is they'll normally wrap up by about 9 o'clock. If they're not, then you are going to be drinking to the early hours of the morning, and you might be drinking Lao Khao or some of the local beers. You know, and it's a festival. It's a festive event. You know, they sit, they'll talk, you ain't gonna know what they're saying. I mean, even myself, you know, I speak a good level of Thai, but when they start talking village Thai, no idea what they're saying. I just nod and go, yeah, that's great. So night times could be well restricted to being in the village. You might not be going out anywhere. Like I say, I mean, I live a fair distance away from the city centre. I have 0 bars here, 0 restaurants here that are westernized. Everything is Thai based, as you would expect. I just touched briefly on the language. Now, one of the things to be prepared of is when you do come up here, obviously it's Thai. There's no doubt about that. Very little English, so depending on who you're with will depend on how you can communicate. If her English is fairly basic, then your experience is going to be very testing, because you're not going to be able to communicate, and she can't communicate back to you what they're saying, and she can't communicate back to them what you're trying to say. So it could be quite frustrating, so be prepared for that. In general, you know, you've got the apps, you know, you've got your Google Translate and stuff like that, so try and be prepared with that. But, you know, it's a bit of fun. Like, you're trying to explain something, and they're like, no, it's not what I want to say. And they're like, no, it's not what we're trying to explain. It's like, oh, my Lord. So, you know, language is an issue, especially with the elders. The elders speak a very different style of Thai to what we're used to and to what I'm used to. You know, Mo's mum and dad, I love them both dearly. They're fantastic people, but truthfully, when they start talking to me, man, I struggle. You know, I really, really do struggle. I'm like, oh, what are they saying? So again, you know, this isolation where you're not going to really know what's going on or what's being said. So be prepared for that. In terms of the elders, please remember, village life is far, far different from city life. So you need to be respectful to her mum and to her dad. Don't sit with your, you know, if you sit cross-legged and you put your foot like that and it's pointing towards her dad, that's a massive no-no. Don't do things like that. You know, don't point your feet. Don't touch anybody's head. That's the most sacred part of a human body up here in Thailand, obviously the head. Don't touch that. You know, don't point your feet. Normally, when it comes to eating, like, the food will go to dad first. He's the head of the family. Then it will be you, because you're the guest. So, you know, just be a little bit aware about the elders, and you will need to say hello. And when you greet the elder, it's here, Sawadee Krap. Always to the brow of your nose here, Sawadee Krap, and bow your head a little bit. Note like that. That's disrespectful, okay? So to the elders, it's Sawadee Krap, and they may not even reply back, because they don't have to, because remember, they're the head of the family. So just be aware about that. City centres, you know, try, if you are going to go to the village, try and be close to a city centre. It will make the trip a little bit more enjoyable, particularly if you're isolated, because the city centre, you know, in Korat we've got like Terminal 21, we've got some big shopping malls, we've got a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars, so, you know, it's a good break away from the city life. So just have a look on the map. Where am I going? What can I expect? I mean, if you're in the middle of the mountain, well, then you've lucked out. You really have. You've lucked out. I mean, you know, when I stayed in Somdet, Galasin was the nearest city, and that was miles away. So, you know, you've got to be prepared. So just keep that in mind. What I will say is explore. If you do come up and you're going to stay for 3 or 4 days, explore. You know, don't just sit around. Get yourself out, get yourself about, go and look at local things, see how they work, you know, go and see the farming, the fields, the pottery, whatever it is that they're doing in the area that you're visiting. Go and explore it, go and see what happens. You know, it's great to embrace their culture. It's great to see how they survive and how they live. It's completely different to what we're expecting. And it really is, you know, for me it's fascinating. I mean, I'm in a pottery village, and I love just sitting there watching them do their thing and how they work and how they do it. It amazes me, you know, it really is. And it doesn't hurt just to be part of their culture just for a short period of time, particularly if you're out here on holiday. So go out, have a look, see what's going on, and, you know, just be open-minded. Just give yourself an opportunity to explore and see these different things and try them for yourself. Lastly is drinking. If you are someone that likes maybe San Miguel Light and all those other kind of things, unless there is a big supermarket nearby, you are definitely not going to get what you're looking for. The mum and dad shops, the little mum and pop shops as we call them, they'll sell all the standard local Thai beers. You're not going to get all your like Heinekens and your San Miguel Lights and all those kind of things, because remember, we're stepping away from the city now. You're coming out to rural Thailand, to the real world. So they don't drink that kind of stuff because it's, well, number one, it's not what they've been used to, and number two, it's too expensive. So be prepared. You know, if you are going to come up and you have to have that particular brand, maybe if you're coming up in a car, that's fine. You can go and get a couple of boxes and bring them with you, but don't expect to find them in the local stores. You know, even the 7-Elevens up there, if you've got a 7-Eleven nearby you, possibly they'll stock what you want, but don't take it for granted, because there's nothing worse than coming up here and realizing that you've lost your main line of alcohol that you prefer. All right, well, that's about it today. I just wanted to really share, you know, what I will say is I'm going through all the things that I think you need to be prepared for. Please don't take this as a negative video. I want you to come and explore. I want you to come and visit. I want you to come and see for yourself what Thai life is like. Those of you that have been fortunate enough to travel and have experienced what I've been going through, please, guys, you know, drop your comment below. How was your trip? What's the things you enjoyed? What were the things you struggled with? You know, share your comments below, because then that way other people can read your comments and think, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. You know, there's lots of things I haven't covered that, you know, maybe we should put into the video, but I just wanted to give you a brief overview about the main things that you need to expect if you're going to go to the village. And guys, please, you know, if you're here for 3 or 4 weeks, go do it. You know, don't sit in a bar day after day after day. It's boring. Go out, explore, see what's going on, get yourself into the rural countryside. It really is fantastic. You'll have a great time, and check it out. And like I say, please, if you have been, drop your comments below. If you haven't been and you want to ask a question, again, you know, I read every single comment, I reply to every single comment, so drop your comments below and I will answer it for you. Or check out Discord and have a look in there. All right, that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, please remember, hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when I bring out a new video. I mentioned very briefly then Discord. Check out Discord, guys. Get on there. We're encroaching up now. There are 20,000 members in it. It's completely free of charge. Doesn't cost you a single penny. Have a look in there. It's a perfect platform to ask the kind of questions that I've been talking through today. And any other questions that I haven't covered, please have a look. Ask them in Discord. There'll be a wealth of information there, and people can share their experiences back with you and answer those comments. So have a look in Discord. And if you'd like to support the channel, there is a link to the members area below, and membership starts from as little as 89p a month. And on the subject of memberships, we are building our website, which is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to launch it in the 1st of January, and it really is going to bring a whole different level of information to you. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much indeed for watching, and please, as always, wherever you are in the world, stay safe.